The market moves sideways as it consolidates the big moves down. Are we still looking lower? This is Invest with Jacob. Okay, guys, so in yesterday's video, we were looking for the market to continue moving down, and yesterday it took a breather, consolidating sideways for most of the day. So now the question is, are we still looking lower? I'll get into that in just 1 second, but first, if you're new here, welcome to the show, guys. My name is Jacob Gabbard, and this is Invest with Jacob, where we use Elliott Wave Theory to break down the SP500 and the NASDAQ. I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below so that you can get our daily S&P updates, our trade setups, and our buy alerts. All right, guys, before we jump into the charts, it is about mid-month, and PT sent an update. He is absolutely crushing it. They are up 36 points. Their goal is to hit 50 points every month. They're already up 36 midway through the month. Just absolutely killing it on their income trades for sitting around doing nothing. Today is a perfect day for that, and they absolutely killed it. If you'd like to know more about that, stay tuned for later in the video. But for now, let's jump into the chart and take a look. Okay, guys, so here we are on the 1-hour futures chart for the S&P 500. And since breaking the blue box just on Monday, yesterday we got consolidation sideways for most of the day. They did close the market slightly lower, but overall a sideways choppy day as they digest this move down here and kind of a bear flag formation. Now, this is typical market behavior, and we did hit the 1236 basically on the number 5081.50 was the 1236, a very common 3 of 3 extension. So what we would look at here is you have off of the top your A wave down, your B wave up, 1 of C, 2 of C. And so the 1236 is a very good wave 3 of this wave 3. You'd look for a bounce back up toward the 764, which we got, 51.32. They came up a little short of that at about 51.20 and then closed it back down here near the lows for the day. So they can still take this up in a C wave higher into this 51.32 region. The pivot is 51.32 to 51.48. Should they move back through 51.48, we would view this as a B wave. So why would we do that? Well, if you take the 1.0 extension of A and B, so you have A and B, and then you draw your fibs and you get the 1.0 extension, that comes in at 51.03. So we're through the 1.0, and that's a typical C wave target. Now, because we're coming off a diagonal, I would look for this C wave to extend to the downside and the selling to continue. However, we did hit a typical standard target, and if that's the case, we would look for a bounce. And if it exceeds 51.48, we would look for them to come back up into this 52.17 to 52.60 area and then come back down in a C wave from there. So the key levels to the upside are 51.32 to 51.48. That is your pivot. Since we hit the 1236, 51.32 becomes the most important number. Through that, 51.48 is kind of our line in the sand number at that time. If they are going to continue to the downside in a standard pattern, the next target to the downside is 50.40. If they hold that area, we would look for a bounce back up toward the 5100 area and then a move down towards the 5000 area after that. That would be the completion of a very early stages A wave. What I mean by that is we're only at about the 5000 region. Should that complete, we're looking for a much bigger pattern, at least an intermediate pattern where this is A, you get a B wave bounce, and then you get a C wave down toward that 4800 level I talked about yesterday, which would be an intermediate topping area. There's support down there for a potential bigger wave 4. And if you want more details on that, you can check out yesterday's video. There's a big support level here. We could see them give us an ABC into that area, and then we could potentially see a wave 5 higher. It would be an ABC, as this would be a diagonal towards the 54 to 5800 area would elevate the target based on the overall size of the diagonal. I don't necessarily think that is going to play out, but that would be the bullish potential overall. They would look for that ABC down into 4800 and then a strong rally back over the top of the all-time highs. So that's the first target for the move down. If they get to that point, we should get a bounce in either case. So this would be an ABC for another bigger A wave. And this would be A of still a bigger A wave where we get a B wave bounce and another C wave down. And then breaking through 4800 would be a very, very strong signal that this top is good. We are in for a long move corrective to the downside, and we would look for a large corrective pattern to play out. We'll cross those bridges as we get there. We'll see what that looks like should this all fill out. but that would be the expectation of the pattern to play out. So once again, in the short term, we're looking for a move down towards 5,000. That can happen two different ways. Either A, B, C down to 5,000 like this, or a more direct move where A and B are already in, and this C wave takes us down to 5,000. We'd look for a bounce off of that area, and then a C wave down toward 4,800. And at 4,800, we will look to see what kind of reaction we get and to see who's actually going to take control from that moment. Is it going to be the bulls for one more push higher or the bears for a much bigger correction? Over on the NASDAQ. Okay, on the NASDAQ 1 hour chart, we have what I consider a much cleaner pattern. I think you have a pretty clear A, B, C down for A, B, C up for B, and then 1 and 2 of C so far, with 3 of C coming down here, hitting the 1382 and bouncing off of that. We would expect them to come back up to the 17,965 area, up to as high as 18,056. If they press through 18,056, we would consider this C wave done, as it did hit past the 1.0, just like on the ES. So that 18,056 area, very strong area to watch for the bulls on the NASDAQ. If that happens, we would look for them to come back up into this 18,400 area, and then down and see toward this 17,250 to 17,500 area we spoke about yesterday, into this support region here. However, I do think that because we're coming off of a diagonal, we can see more direct selling to the downside, where you have A and B in place, and especially with the 1-2 of C here, it's much bigger, pointing more toward the 1618 extension, which takes us more directly into that 17,448 area. Our next target to the downside would be about 17,579, and then a bounce, and then that 17,500 to 17,250 area. We'd look for support, and then a bounce up from there in a B wave, where we get A, B, and then C breaking down from there. So NASDAQ, very similar counts. Again, back through that 18,056 area, and it's much more likely we're going to make this move back up toward the 18,400 area in a B wave. If they hold under 18,056, we would expect continuation to the downside with a more direct pattern toward that 17,250 to 17,500 area. Guys, if you love the information I put out in these videos and you want real-time market updates from me, you need to check out investwithjacob.com. There's a link down in the description. Go ahead and click that link. It'll take you right over to our webpage. Once you're there, check out our membership plans area. We have 2 incredible monthly plans as well as our educational material. Our monthly plans come with a 7-day free trial, and that's because I want you to get in there, make sure you love it, become part of the trading team, interact with PT and I, and make sure it's for you before you ever spend a penny. You can cancel at any time. You literally have nothing to lose by checking it out. We also have our educational material, our Elliott Wave for Beginners and Advanced course. We just finished our advanced course last week, and it is all of the complex patterns that you come across in the market. We are dealing with lots of complex patterns currently between diagonals, the advanced fib levels that we're going through. You also have the double and triple threes, the flats, the triangles, everything that makes charting the market really hard, explained in detail. You can see here we're going through ending diagonals. We start off with a drawing, then we bring in the fib levels so you understand how the fib levels work. We show you where those react, and then later on in the video we get into the charts and show you how a diagonal looks on the chart. We do this with every type of pattern so you can see what they look like on the chart, how to chart them, how to understand where they're going next, how to trade them, everything that makes sense of these complex patterns. As you can see on the screen, our members really love it. It's helping them understand these patterns and make money off of them, and giving them peace of mind when the market's really hard to understand. Now, if this is too advanced or too complex for you, we do have our Elliott Wave for Beginners online course. This course is helping real traders make real money and finally understand the market in a way that makes sense. It can be really difficult when good news makes the market go down and bad news makes the market go up, and that's because Elliott understood that the news cycles didn't mean anything and that key levels did, and he knew what happened when those key levels held, and he knew what happened when those key levels broke. This gives you a huge advantage over the rest of the market. Now, this course is 25 videos where I go over 3 parts: your introduction, where we go through your expectations, your mindset, the KISS method and why it works, the chart setup and tools, all the tools you need to use with Elliott Wave Theory, how and why to use them. Elliott Wave for Beginners area, where I go through each of the waves, their degrees, how they work. I go through the corrective zigzags, the theory of alternation, corrective depth, the pivot, everything you need to know to make sense of an irrational market. Now, the really cool thing, guys, If you don't want to pay for these courses, they are included in both of our monthly rooms. Or if you want to get both courses but not become a member, you can use our Elliott Wave bundle and get them both for a discounted price. In our first room, the Invest with Jacob room, you get all of my real-time market updates, all of my buy and sell alerts, all of your Elliott Wave questions answered, a midday video where I go over exactly where we are in the counts and what to expect, as well as the training material you just saw. We trade the SPY and the QQQ, so we swing in day trade, so we do trade quite often in my room. And if you're looking for futures trading, income trading, which I showed you at the beginning of the video, PT is crushing income trading. Guys are just sitting around making money and they're loving it. If you're looking for that, individual stocks or advanced training, you need to check out PT's throne room. In there, you get everything you get in the Invest with Jacob room, as well as futures trading, individual stocks, income trading, and PT's reduced risk binary method that just crushes the market. He gets you in at a cheap price and gets you big multiples on your money, and it's how he structures those trades that's so unique. Something you really have to see to understand, and that's another reason we give you that 7-day free trial. He also started a challenge account where he put $4,000 into an account trading mini ES futures, showing you how to build a small account into a large retirement or savings account. Guys, we'd love to have you in these rooms so we can all make money together. All right, the key takeaways for today. We are looking for the market to continue lower. We could see a quick bounce up towards 51.32 to 51.48. Above that, and it's much more likely we head back towards the 5,200 and a bigger B wave. As long as they stay below that, we would look for 50.40 next and about 5,000 overall. Over on the NASDAQ, same type of setup. We are looking for continuation to the downside. If they do bounce, we would look for them to hold the 17,965 to 18,056 area. As long as they're below that, we would look for them to continue down toward the 17,580, then 17,250 to 500 areas next. However, if they do push back over 18,056, that would be likely in a B wave, and then we'd look for C down into that area from there. Guys, that is your market update for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow.